Welcome to Conversate, a podcast where we engage in conversation. This week, I, Kevin Bender, sit down with Marcus Huff to have a conversation around the law. This week, we're going to take a look at what the law is, some of its uses, its functions as a curb, a mirror, and a guide. We'll talk about what that means and how some ways the law helps us live in a better way, and what it does when we don't. Now, we hope our stories of personal experiences with the law are helpful for you, and we hope you walk away knowing that you are loved by your God, even apart from the law. We hope you enjoy it. Good morning, Marcus.
How's it going, man?
It's going good, dude. It's going good. It's a nice sunny day, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what started off this morning. It was brisk.
Was it?
Yeah. Now it's supposed to be like nice and 74.
Yeah. And like yesterday, too.
We're recording on Tuesday, FYI. If you're wondering if this is Wednesday and you're like...
Secret's out. It's not actually Wednesday, but it is for you.
It takes 24 hours to upload this stuff, so...
That's right.
It takes a little while.
Yeah,
It's nice out. It's gorgeous out.
Yeah. Yep.
We should have done an outdoor edition.
Oh, man, that's a great idea.
We should.
We've never done that.
We've never done that.
We've always been...
We'll wait till winter. Then we'll do it in winter.
We haven't always been here, so if you're listening to us, audio version, obviously you can't see us. We're currently on the brown couch, dampening Aaron's the cracks of his couch, which he loves for us to do, as opposed to sitting in, on each cushion. Mm-hmm. We have recorded from other locations. I think Aaron has done it from home a couple times, hotel room.
Yeah.
We did it in the church for a while.
Yeah.
When we had some technical difficulties, but we've never been outside.
We should do parka edition. Do it outdoors.
Yeah. First snow.
Yeah. Backyard.
We'll have to see what the theme of the week is, see if it fits.
There you go.
But this does fit.
The wilderness.
With the theme of this week. I was thinking of the law, right? So we're here on the Aaron's brown couch because that's kind of it's not spoken law. It's kind of unspoken.
Unspoken. Where we should go.
Like, I don't know. Do you are there things in your life where you're like, you just do it that way? Not because anyone said you have to, but you're kind of like, well, I don't know. That's how we always have done it.
Maybe. Yeah, probably.
I do that.
Do you?
Well, I'm trying to think now.
I've heard some really good stories along those lines. I won't share them because they're long, but basically the traditions being passed down of how you cook something. And some weird, silly thing of you have to cut off the last 3 inches of a huge ham. Here I am telling the story. I just said I wasn't going to, but
I'm interested.
But basically, the whole concept was, why did you do it? And you ask somebody else. Well, you asked the mom, and the mom asked her mom, and why did we do it? This is the way we always done it. And come to find out, they cut the last 3 inches off the ham because the pan was so small. That's the only way it would fit. But they thought that's how you had to cook a ham, was cutting off the end of it, and that was the way we cook hams. But it was just to make it fit inside the dish. So some laws are just silly, and then when they're not passed down or explained, you lose why. Or it became this arbitrary tradition, law, direction thing, when really it was just feasibility.
Yeah, and at that point, for those who are doing it without even knowing the why, for them, it's really hampering their life, right? Yeah. I mean, it's they're losing out on what they could have had that could be more,
right? Because
they're just kind of blindly following this old law.
Yeah, or direction.
Yeah. Or direction, instruction.
Yeah.
Well, so, and that's that's a really good illustration, I think, when it comes to just talking about the law. So this week, I mean, just to back up for a second and orient everybody listening.
Where are we in the story?
Yeah. Here's where we are in the story. We're out of Egypt. That was last week, where Moses leads the people out. Pharaoh, let my people go. That was fun singing with the kids in chapel.
Oh, yeah.
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Oh, great song. But so Moses let them out. They've come to the wilderness of Sinai, and here's where God comes down on the mountain. Big fire, big smoke, thunder, booming, lightning. His presence is kind of scary for the people. They're like, Moses, why don't you just go?
Yeah.
You go up for us, talk to God, let us know what he says. And he's like, all right. So Moses goes up, gets the 10 Commandments, a bunch of other laws too. We don't really talk about them as much because they kind of don't really apply anymore.
Yeah.
Things like certain foods they couldn't eat or, kind of how the temple worship or tabernacle worship was going to go. But 10 Commandments, Moses comes down the mountain. He's got 10 Commandments. He's going to tell the people, here's the law. Right? Here's what we're going to obey. And I think, you tell me what you think. I think sometimes we treat the law or God's law, it kind of just as these maybe we haven't really thought through the why these things exist. It's kind of just like God said these things, so I guess I got to do them. Maybe on a surface level, I kind of realize okay, yeah, don't kill your neighbor. Yeah, do not murder.
Right.
Seems kind of obvious, but maybe maybe it in some ways, without really understanding the law, it feels kind of like that cutting off the 3 inches of the pork, where it's kind of like, yeah, we do it all the time, or we say we got to do it, but why? What is the law really about?
I mean, that's why one of the reasons I love teaching, I think, the 10 Commandments in confirmation class, and then re-emphasizing it in high school and all ministry levels too, because I think we see it as something so black and white. We miss the grace or safety or protection that the law gives us in that way too. Like, you won't live life to the fullest if you don't orientate your life in this way, So it's like the concept of it. I mean, everyone says, out of all the commandments, not murder. I think I got that one down. Like that's the one. I got that one for sure. And then when you break it down, going but that includes the opposite of death is life. Anytime you're not breathing life into somebody, you're breathing separation, death into them, like speaking ill of them, harming them, and stuff like that. And then you ask the youth that question, like, have you ever done that? And you're like, yep. Well, we all fail at that one pretty quickly too, So the title is more than just those things. I was rereading chapter 5 this morning, part of the intro of it, and in the story, and it was really interesting too, because when Moses is going up, there's a lot of law, direction, consequence laid out for setting the mountain aside to be a holy spot. And if you encroached on it, even animals, you were to die.
Yeah.
But not death by hand, but death from a distance, because if you were to touch that person, if they stepped across this line, then if you were to touch them with your own hand, then you would become unholy as well.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to be stoned or shot with arrows. But it was all this direction leading up to what we know as the 10 Commandments, and this set of rules that make Christianity not fun at all. I can't do all these fun things, and going
right.
But the whole posture, the whole setup, the whole narrative leading into it is order, is setting some stuff apart, respecting that space. And then it's the ram's horn will sound, and basically you're good to go. You can climb all over the mountain all over again, stuff like that, and go for it. But I thought that was interesting. I missed that the first time reading through it, and picking up again going, it's not like all of a sudden this fun guy all of a sudden now you can't do these things.
Right.
And going no, you're craving structure, you're craving direction. Maybe some of the listeners have known the old law direction of curb, mirror, guide, imagery. And here's some really good curbs to kind of lead you, and don't worship other gods. Have you not seen how bad that's happened? And will continue to happen for all the Israelites and my chosen people. And we do that often.
Yeah.
But
I think it's actually worth breaking down. You mentioned those 3 terms in there, curb, mirror, and guide.
Yeah.
It's kind of stock Lutheran language, I think, speak about how the law works, and maybe it's even broader than Lutheranism.
Maybe,
I don't know, but yeah, let's ponder on those for a hot second. Just for those, if you're not familiar with that language, what Marcus is talking about is so we call the 3 uses of the law.
Right.
3 different uses, and it's not these aren't things that's I can harness these uses and use them in this way. The law is kind of its own powerful thing. So it's going to do these things kind of on its own, and your experience of them might be different depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
But the 3 uses, so the first one you mentioned was
curb.
So curb would be what kind of, I guess the idea of if you go bowling, and you're really bad at bowling, like me, you put the bumpers up.
Yeah.
Right? So then you roll the ball down.
Right.
And instead of going in the gutter, those bumpers keep the ball bounce around, and then maybe you knock some pins down, which is nice if you're used to just gutter every time.
We're going down the road, it helps you don't go
guardrails.
Yeah. Or just I live in Hancock, so my side street, my yard is elevated up 6-8 inches, and then there's a curb there, and you don't want a curb check. You bump into it and bounce off of it. It keeps you on the road, so you don't drive into somebody's houses. Sharon Ave just got repaved this late summer, and they didn't put curbs up. They're these little raised little corners because of all the snow here.
Oh,
culturally, we're trying to get away from, I think, some of those curb things. It's really bad
just
on
to plow better
and stuff like that. Yeah. But it helps kind of hold things in. Our new van, we have a new van here at church for transporting groups and people around, and it has a safety feature on it. If you crouch into or touch the white line, the steering wheel shakes. It vibrates. It's telling you, not. It's like the law saying, "Well, buddy, don't go over here. Get back on the road. Protect the 14 passengers in this van." So
there you go. So
it's kind of cool.
First use of the law is, and it goes back to what you said about God. These laws are meant to bring life. They're meant to actually let you live life to the fullest, not experience some of the consequences that come when you're not following the law, right? So the way this works as a curb then is, God says, well, do not murder, all right?
Yep.
Now, at the first glance, you might think, well, that's just protecting the guy I'm going to kill. Well, and it is, But it's also, if you go out and kill somebody, okay, now you're a fugitive.
Right.
Part of the code back in their time, they had something called a blood avenger, which was if somebody got killed, somebody else from his family was authorized to strike back against the one who killed that person.
Wow.
Unless it was like an accident, an accident. It's like your axe came apart and the blade went and accidentally sliced somebody. Well, now you might still have to run for your life because these family members want to kill you, but they set apart certain cities that you could go to, and you had protection, like sanctuary.
Okay.
But the law is saying, whoa, let's back up. Before you fall off, into the gutter, before you swerve off the road and crash and your life's in wreckage, just don't kill the guy. So it's curbing. It's keeping us centered. I mean, it's the same principle, I suppose, with even it's like speed limits and stuff. They're saying, hey, go this speed so that, literally, you don't fly off the road, around this corner. So it's meant to kind of keep us in check, preserve us.
And typically get better gas mileage, too.
Hey, nice. Bonus.
When they moved it up to 75 downstate, where's gas mileage? You're better off at 70. 70 was kind of anyways.
As long as it's not 55. I can't drive 55. There's a song about that, Marcus.
Is there?
Yeah, that's a good one. Classic rock.
Don't sing it right now.
Okay.
We'll save it for later.
I will.
That'll be the bonus section.
Bonus content.
So the Ten Commandments, though, I feel like they get this bad rap of just being the buzzkill of being a Christian. If I just was a Christian and just was a nice thing and went to worship, well, that's okay, but it tells me I can't do these things, and that's, I think, mostly because that's where high schoolers pick this up, or junior high kids and stuff like that, and this whole I can't do this, but I want to, that seems lame, but I don't know how many of us, as I'm guessing most of the people listening are adults, but when you orientate your life in a way in which God is not king over everything, if you make it other pleasures or self or whatever that looks like, it's not really as fulfilling or sustainable or joy filled at all in that process. I mean, if you can't remember all 10 commandments or arguing over the order in which the 10 commandments are numbered in that sense too, I mean, he breaks it down to the disciples and Jesus in the New Testament and just says, love God, love your neighbor. So if you're going to love your neighbor, you're not going to murder them, speak ill of them. You're not going to steal their donkey. You're not going to borrow someone else's spouse. You're not going to, and it continues on, those are not loving things.
Right.
But it takes the basis that you know what it means to love somebody, which is something I think we could teach more. I think in our confirmation classes or classes in general, we assume people know how to love, but when you don't have Christ as your example of what love looks like, love can be very self-fulfilling or self-gratifying. And you spoke to that on your sermon on Sunday too, about when we love our spouse or care for them, we take interest in where they're at. We're not loving them so we get something, it gets reciprocated out of us. That's not love, that's manipulation. We don't have a God of manipulation.
Yeah.
We have a God of love and freedom who loves us unconditionally, full of grace, and isn't. How is it laid out for me for college? I think there's an if-then, ontology, or teleology.
Okay.
Ontological.
These are big words.
These are big words. Like, because they're for, and there's another one laid out differently, but basically God is in the narrative. It's not based on what we're doing. Because of his love for us, therefore, we can do this.
Yeah.
It's not based on...
It's not if we do this.
If we do this, then
God approves of
that.
us.
And that's how earthly love tends to look.
Right.
We still have that kind of...
earning.
Yeah. Or that, like, murder pack thing that you were just explaining a minute ago. Of like,
sure.
you know, like, well, if this person doesn't love me, then I don't have to love them back. Or if they're a jerk, then it gives me the right to be a jerk. That never really worked out for any of us when we were 6 or 7 years old on a playground scenario.
Yeah, right.
I mean, no one wants to go home with both of us having black eyes in the situation. Like, someone needs to be set apart in the situation, follow a different code of life, of laws, of love, and move the needle forward in the relational status. But
yeah, so there you go. So that's curb. The law is gonna try and center you in your life on a good road.
Yep.
Build in things that might not be. They're not gonna be easy.
Right.
But they will be good for you. Right. It's not easy not to think ill or speak ill of somebody after they've just done that to you.
Yeah.
But it will work out better for you.
Yeah.
It will in the long run. Yeah, these are good things for you. All right, so mirror. Mirror was number 2.
Yeah.
Curb, mirror, and guide. Mirror, this is when the law shows us our own hearts, basically.
Okay.
It kind of exposes for us this picture of who I really am. I'm looking in the mirror. Sometimes we walk around and we think one thing about ourselves, like, man, I'm super duper good at football. That's what I think about myself.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really do think that. But if I actually play like an actually good football player, I'd be shown otherwise,
Compared to Lily, you're like amazing.
Exactly. I just dominate my house. So I mean, we have ideas about ourselves. We have thoughts about ourselves. The prophets would sometimes talk about this idea of delusions.
Okay.
And I mean, just to be honest, we're all a little delusional.
Right.
We all have little bits about us where we think we're one way. But really, we're not. We're not as... Rich Mullins, he's a musician I love from the 90s, maybe even 80s, late 80s. But he has a song, "We Are Not As Strong As We Think We Are." I like that a lot. And you want to be careful. You don't want to just totally beat yourself up and say, I can't do anything, because that's not true either. In some ways, that can be a delusion where we think we're just incapable of anything.
Right.
Well, no, God doesn't tell us that either. He says, no, you are capable.
Yep.
But what the law does is it exposes to us, oh man, here's the true picture of where I am. And that hurts. This is the one they say that is the law kills. Sometimes if you've heard that language, that the law kills and then the gospel gives life or revives it. If you think of law and gospel. This mirror function, it's hard when you've done something in your life. You kind of, like, I don't know, I walked around with a pretty good picture of myself, when I was growing up. Had people speak well into me and kind of, I was told my identity in God and, just kind of generally thought, Kev, you're a nice guy. You're a good guy. But then, you come to a moment in your life where all of a sudden you realize, oh, shoot, this picture of myself it's not the full picture. For me, that happened in 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a Christmas exchange, white elephant kind of thing.
Yeah.
Secret Santa. I don't know if it's the same or not. Secret Santa. You had a person, you bought them a gift, you revealed it at the party in the class, and cool, right? Well, there's this kid, Logan Chaplusky. He was a neighbor friend of mine. We were buddies. We rode bikes together, played roller hockey together, and we played something called Gundam Wing together. Okay, Gundam Wing was like an anime kind of show on Cartoon Network. It was a little niche, right? Anime wasn't super popular then. I don't think it's getting more popular.
Yeah.
But there's like these robot things in outer space. We were in 8th grade playing with action figures.
Yeah.
We didn't mind. We had fun doing it together, you know?
Yeah.
But it wasn't exactly something, maybe I hadn't thought about it. I wasn't really ready to expose that to the world.
Okay.
There's this thing with Logan, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, but I had Logan as a Secret Santa. I knew he would like a Gundam Wing. No. I'm getting the story backwards. Reverse it. Logan had me as a Secret Santa.
Okay.
He bought me a Gundam Wing action figure, which is something he knew I loved.
Yeah.
He knew that about me.
But you didn't want everyone else to know.
When the time came,
and
I opened the gift, and I looked around the room, I saw, so here I am real self-conscious, kind of embarrassed about this gift.
Yeah.
I see other kids in my class, like, snickering, right? Were they even snickering at the gift? Maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like I knew everything. I'm not omniscient.
Yeah.
But I was embarrassed, and I just, refused the gift. I said, these things are lame, like totally betrayed, backstabbed my friend. So now he just looks like, on an island, the lone kid who's the weirdo in the class because he likes Gundam Wing.
Okay.
And I, of course, don't because that's not cool to like.
Yeah.
That kind of shattered my self-picture a little bit. I had this idea that I was this real great guy, real nice guy.
Yeah.
But then you do something in your life and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm not. And the law, what it does is it exposes that, because it says, look this is what I expect of you, right? As my people.
Yeah.
You're supposed to look different than the world. You're gonna be this holy nation, these people set apart. So you're not gonna hate others and speak ill of others. You're gonna speak well of others and put the best construction on things.
Yeah.
You're not gonna lust after other people's wives or girlfriends or objectify people. You're gonna actually, instead of saying, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
What can I get out of you? You're gonna say, what do I have to offer you? Right. That's different than how the world works.
Oh yeah.
But when you come upon that, because we all have this sinful nature in us, we have this kind of hardwired, not so goodness piece of ourselves, the law is going to draw that out and say, look, I'm telling you to be this way. And if you look at this law, you're going to realize you're not being that way.
Right.
And that's hard.
Yeah. I mean, mirrors get all kinds of pushback in culture with cosmetics and what do you look in the mirror and what you see, you're avoiding it, or you have a full body mirror, or just a face mirror and stuff like that. And sometimes we like looking at certain parts of us that we like. We don't like necessarily seeing all of us in a mirror or having everything exposed to us in that sense too. The law also isn't designed as a weapon to be used against somebody else. We talked about this in a meeting we had last night with different church leadership. Law can be great in a sense of accountability and exposing where we fall short so that we can lift each other up in that. So we're working on practicing traits of discipleship, of helping others and leading and being those examples. And we all picked something we're gonna work at, and shared what that is, and we're gonna hold each other accountable to what that looks like. So that means we're gonna share that fact that we said we're gonna do this, this, or this, and most likely we're gonna fall short of not doing that, and we're gonna be a mirror, allow each other to be a mirror, and then speak love, forgiveness, and help encourage each other in that way. Not using it as destructive of what we tell ourselves when we look in the mirror, look at that mark on your face. You don't deserve to go out. No one's going to love you because of this, this, and this. That's Satan weaponizing the law and filling us with all this ick and separation. Law should draw us in. It should be done well in community. I think law just in general gets this bad rap of being this really bad, negative thing, and it does expose the badness and what's going on in it, but it is that truth in love component, and not just I'm being honest. I mean, a lot of people in our culture, they say, well, I'm just being honest. Well, you're not a nice person when you're just typically honest, and it's judgmental. It's just I'm pointing out this negative thing and hiding behind this cloak of I'm being honest. And the church has done that too, I think, when it comes to law. But it's supposed to be done in the context of loving and caring for somebody and what that process looks like.
Yeah, I like that idea of like if it's a mirror, it's me not looking at somebody else.
Yeah.
It's me looking at myself.
Right.
Myself. If I'm looking at someone else through the law, that's more of like a scope.
Yeah.
That's got a target, a reticle,
right.
And like you said, weaponize. And that's what Satan wants to do. Wants to take these things and say, look, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, we aren't.
Right.
But the point of the law isn't to get us acceptance with God. Like you said, it's not an if-then. It's not if you keep the law, then I love you.
Right.
God,
because I love you, and therefore.
Yes, exactly.
This.
All right, so curb, mirror, finally,
guide.
The controversial third use of the law.
Why do you say it's controversial?
Well, probably not to our listeners, is my assumption. But in the Lutheran world, there are some camps who say the law doesn't have this third use.
Okay.
They say we can't keep it. The point of the law is just to show us how far we fall so that we cling, to Jesus for our salvation.
Gotcha.
Which is fine and good in the sense of, yes, you're right, like we of ourselves can't keep it.
Right.
But God literally gives it to the people after he saved them.
Right.
God doesn't give the law to the people to cling to him as a primary thing. He's already rescued them. God does give the law to the people, as he says in Exodus 19, to be his treasured possession, so that they delight in what he gives them, to be his holy nation, which means to set them apart, make them look different, and to be a kingdom of priests, which means to be a mediator between God and the world, basically like help others experience who God is.
Yeah.
Right? So clearly God is giving this law as some kind of a guide,
Right.
To not treat, and I think that's a big error is to not treat the law as a guide. We want to follow the law.
Right.
Right? If we just kind of say, well, we'll never keep it, and just, so what's the point?
Yeah.
I think we miss some of the heart of God, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, the third use of the law, let the controversy end here on conversy. We need it to guide us, to guide our actions, and it's helpful.
Yeah, I think if we don't use it as that, it's just this thing of life becomes this pass-fail thing. And, we're not perfect. We can't do it. The Israelites could not keep this law perfectly. It is setting it up for Jesus to come in. But it's still held to, even with Jesus, and he brings it back up of love God, love your neighbor, and emphasizing it with his disciples and everyone he's teaching. I mean, it's there, it's core. When you use it as a guide to wake up and put Jesus first in the day, you're going to love your spouse better. You're going to look at your kids with grace rather than frustration when they don't get it right, because if you haven't recognized it yet, the whole overarching story of the Bible is a bunch of people that don't get it right and get grace and forgiveness again and again. There's consequences and there's love, and they're picking them back up. It's this giant roller coaster again and again and again, and it's this invitation to step back into orientating ourselves, using the law to guide us to have richer, fuller relationships with God, and therefore with those that we're surrounded by, that we're called to be in relationship with. I think that's huge too. We're not called to love God and separate ourselves from the whole world. And I'm gonna mess up, so therefore I can't be around people.
Right.
Certain stages, maybe it's not healthy for you to be around certain things and get rid of it. If it is causing you to sin, get rid of it. Get rid of Wi-Fi if it's causing you to sin at your house with what you're finding on the internet. Get rid of whatever it may be.
Yeah, for me, it was a board game, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just because I was like super duper addicted to this thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of had to realize, like, whoa, this has replaced God in some ways. It sounds silly, but like you can find your identity in anything, you know?
Yeah.
So you're good at a game, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is how I'm validated because I'm really good at this game. Everyone, let's play this game.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm already really good at it. I'll beat you, right? Yeah, you know, if it's causing you to sin, right? Like you're saying, like, cut it off, get it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cleanse it. I mean, it's the whole thing. Moses comes back down from the mountain, and they purify. They consecrate themselves. They get rid of all the stuff, and to be set apart and go all up to. So,
yeah, kind of in a pretty rough way there with the golden calf. But
so as we wrap up here, I want to ask you one question. I asked this when the youth, and how would you feel being Moses coming down and getting the 10 Commandments, and then in holy anger you throw this gift of God, you know, and smash it all up?
Yeah.
How would you feel having to go back up to God, up this mountain again, and be like, so remember that gift you just gave me? I busted it. You know how scary it is to go first time you go up? But then let's go second time. Second time coming back to God and going like,
Yeah, that'd be a little terrifying. I love the poetic imagery of it, though, right?
Yeah.
Like what Moses does to the 10 Commandments is literally what has just happened down in the camp, right?
Yeah.
Like he throws them down, they're shattered, but the reality is like they already were shattered.
Right.
You know, it's this beautiful kind of word picture for what's gone on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't remember the order of the 10 Commandments, I mean, my joke with the youth was Moses couldn't either. That's why he had to go back up the mountain to get them rewritten down again because he couldn't remember what just happened. But
and there's some joke too about a tablet and Wi-Fi or something. Peter Pietola, if you're listening, let us know what the joke is about Moses and the internet and a tablet.
Like
something downloaded.
Peter joke.
Yeah.
That's good. Awesome.
Well, yeah.
I hope it helps change your perspective maybe as you approach the 10 Commandments and what's going on in that narrative. I mean, the other cultural construct of the time was there were a lot of quote-unquote gods all around the Israelites in different nations, and those gods did not communicate with the people, did not give them clarity of what they should do, how they should order their life, how to work through it. So as we get into a lot of the Levitical laws of do this and sacrifice this, that was like, those laws were amazing means of grace given to the people. You can do this and you're right with God, compared to other religions or other deities that were in existence. A lot of that was framed around, I don't know if I'm doing enough. I always have to do more, and then more and more. You know, if I appeased them last year with, $10, I better give them $20 this year. It was like always this more.
Yeah.
And here's this Yahweh, this God of the Israelites, and saying, no, if you want to know what to do, like
here it is.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Try your best. Yeah. I'm still going to come save you. This redemptive story is still happening, and we're working our way to get there. But
amen.
That's
amen.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, we hope listeners that this curb mirror guide has been helpful to you. We hope you know that you are loved apart from the law. That comes first. God has saved you and rescued you, and He gives us this now as a gift to help order our lives well. And we'll keep tracking on the story and with God's people as they do. Muck it up and bumble around, and God will continue saving them. So we look forward to hearing more about that as we journey together through the story. Have a good one.